Hi, I'm Carl Hose, and I'd like to welcome you to another MasterClass from ARC Magazine. And today we're going to be broadcasting from the new Welding Technology and Training Center here in Cleveland, Ohio, which just opened in January of 2018. I'm going to be demonstrating walking the cup today on pipe. It's a technique for advancing the torch around the pipe. There are other techniques. Some welders use the freehand technique, but what we're going to show today is walking the cup. This is a direct current only welding machine, and there's going to be no solenoids for gas. There's no alternating current. We're not going to need that. We're not welding, unless we're welding on aluminum pipe, which is not typical. We won't have a high frequency start, so we're going to start using a touch start or a scratch start. Sometimes we train both ways because there are some jobs where they might be doing a scratch start on an older fashioned machine, so we do both ways. So this is a DC only machine. You can see my connector here comes out. It's a special connector which allows the gas to come in and goes to the torch. We have a touch start program on this machine where I can touch the tungsten to the work and hold it down and then lift it off and begin to weld without using high frequency or a foot pedal to start the arc. I'll have to turn my torch on and off manually with a valve. So we're not using a foot pedal today, so I'm going to turn my machine on, and my current for an open root on a Schedule 80 pipe, I'm going to try about 112 amps here for the root pass. So we're DC negative. I got my gas turned on. We're going to run about 20 cubic feet per hour. I'm using a number 6 cup. Today I'm going to be working with an air-cooled torch. This is a PTA 26V, and it has a valve on it so I can turn the gas on and off manually with this valve. The nozzle I have on here is a number 6, which means it's 6/16 inside diameter or 3/8 inside diameter cup, which will fit nicely down inside this pipe. Today I'm going to be using a 1/8 thoriated tungsten. Any alloyed tungsten will work. Green would not work well, but thoriated tungsten is still pretty popular in the industry. And I'm going to extend that tungsten out about 5/16 of an inch, and that might need to be adjusted just a little bit so that when I walk around this pipe, that my tungsten's nice and close to the root of the weld, but my torch is tipped back slightly like this, and that'll allow me to wiggle side to side. When I line my arm up to walk the cup, I like my arm lined up with the joint. That makes it kind of ergonomical for me. I'm right-handed, so I like to hold the torch in my right hand. On this side here, I would weld right-handed, so I'll get on the bottom of the pipe like this, and I'm going to have to tip the torch back a little bit like this. And once I get my arc initiated, I'm going to begin to wiggle the cup side to side, and it'll come right around. And as I'm coming around this pipe, I'm going to have to keep my arm kind of lined up with the pipe. That'll center me in the joint. And the back cap comes around, so I'm always oriented like I am here, all the way around the pipe. As I come up the side, same thing, right around to the top. That works pretty good on this side. But when I go to do the other side, right hand is going to be a little bit awkward to do. I'll be adding my filler metal from here, so it's actually a little easier to get up under here left-handed on the back side and do this side left. That way my arm kind of stays nice for the joint. Walk right around there, stand up. My recommendation is to set the pipe just a little bit above waist high so you can get the top pretty easily, but you can get the bottom from down on your knee. I'm going to talk briefly about fit up. I prepared these pipes ahead of time a little bit, and these are actually just practice pipes. As you can see, there's a seam in there, but I fit it with a 1/8 gap. I used a 1/8 wire and some wedges, and my fit up is such that a 1/8 wire doesn't fall in, but it sticks in there just a little bit on the inside, what a 332 wire does. So I have a filler wire here made out of 332, and it drops inside. That'll allow me to get a little bit of weld on the inside of that pipe. My goal is to have a flat to slightly convex weld on the inside. All right, I'm going to drop down and start on the bottom side first. Get down on one knee here. I got the height set so that I can do the bottom on one knee and stand and do the top. I'm going to touch the tungsten to work, get my hood up, get myself situated, and just kind of start walking the cup. Cover. Okay, coming up here on the tack. When I get to this tack, I'm going to stand the wire up kind of straight so it doesn't burn back. I'm going to make sure I weld through the tack. I want to make sure I pick that tack up so it's blended together on the inside. So the mistake a lot of people make is they quit right when they get to the tack, and I'm going to go over that tack. In fact, I might even go all the way around to the other side of the tack before I quit. I'm on the tack now. When I get to the other side of the tack, I'm going to run my arc up the wire and stop for a second. Get myself resituated. I'm going to get myself up here and try to get around to this other tack on the top. Movement side to side is very small. Don't try to wash up on the sides. Just try to wiggle, stay right on the wire. I'm using the lay wire technique, so the wire stays right in the puddle. Nice close arc length. It'll consume the wire as I go around. One of the things the welders look at a lot sometimes, they call it the fish eye. There's a little silicon island in there. You kind of watch that, make sure that's moving around in front, and that tells you you're getting to the inside. But when I get to the end of the weld, what I'm going to want to do, just like I did when I tacked, I actually will pull that silicon island up on the bevel and leave it on the bevel. Now when I stop, I'm going to walk up on the bevel and break the arc on the bevel. All right, I do a little inspection here. It's pretty easy to do. I'm looking at the inside. I've got about a 30-second buildup on the top, just a little buildup on the sides, pretty flat on the bottom, but it's okay. I made sure I walked my cup out onto the bevel, left the fisheye on the bevel, not in the joint. So the technique I used for that first pass was called walking the cup, and I fed the wire to the puddle in what's called a lay wire technique, where the wire just laid in the groove and we walked right up the wire. If they do go all the way out, the last couple of passes when you have the bevel almost gone, we would jump to a bigger cup and we would use a rolling technique, 1-point contact, where I rest the cup right on the weld and roll from one side, tip the torch a little, roll the other way, tip the torch a little, roll the other way, back and forth like this, and so the whole torch moves around. This can also be practiced dry, just like I'm doing now, without the machine turned on. It's almost like the virtual reality welder. Thanks for joining us again for another master class. We'll see you next time.